In today's video, I want to mainly talk about, is it good to experiment with different meditation technique, or is it good to uh, follow one technique and then keep on doing that? Now, me, I've been experimenting with different meditation technique, and I think that's the best way to go. But I hear few opinions from some of my friends who think that they are going in one direction and they don't want to be misguided, or they don't want to try different techniques. They just want to try one technique and keep on trying that and keep on focusing that. So I want to talk about people who want to reach that enlightenment, or they are in that path of reaching the enlightenment. So is it good to actually do one meditation technique and keep on doing that for the rest of your life, or is it worth trying different meditation techniques and finding one technique or two techniques and using that techniques to reach enlightenment? So I'll tell you my experience. I used to go to different meditation centers, and they used to say, I used to follow, and I used to close my eyes, and I used to sit, and I used to meditate. And this was happening for an year. It was like, it used to calm me, it used to make me peaceful, all those things were good. And all of a sudden, I say this in my all the videos, I started to watch the sun. I started watching the sun for probably more than half an hour, and went and meditated, and my third eye opened up. And that experience is not given by any meditation technique, it's not given by any books, it just happened. And I cannot transform or explain that experience that I had to anyone, and they cannot understand that, because that's my experience, and it's pretty hard for me to explain you. But I can say that my third eye opened up, and then I could see a lot of different colors and patterns. That's the only thing I can say, but actually I cannot project out my real experience. So that was one of my significant experience. And so after that, I tried different meditation techniques, like focusing on the breath, gap between the breath, um, turning of the breath. These are all the meditation techniques that you have. I tried all of that, and doing bellows breath and focusing on third eye. And I tried all of those techniques. So those techniques have a different experience. But it's not that state, cannot take to that state where my third eye opened up by actually me exposing to sun, actually absorbing the sun energy. But I cannot explain you how to absorb the sun energy, but I can say that there is a way to absorb the sun energy, and it takes time. You need to observe the sun for numerous times. And me, initially, I observed the sun for numerous times, and one day it just happened. And then when I went and meditated, suddenly the third eye opened up, and then the experience was magical. And the second experience I had out of the blue was just watching nature, staring into the nature, and getting into meditative state. This was not written in any techniques, or I haven't read in any books or anything. Just staring into the nature and getting into meditative state or conscious state. And that was a surprise for me. And so those are the two techniques for me to reach that enlightenment state, and I know that. So for me, the path is really clear, and the vision is really clear for me, what to do, what not to do. But even then, I still experiment with things. Now, to come to the point of actually trying different meditation techniques, or actually to choose one technique and follow that path. If you choose one technique and if you're following that path, then you need to see some results, which means that you need to see something extraordinary if you want to reach the enlightenment state, which means that calming yourself or making you peaceful, that's good. But if you can get to that elevated state, or if the experience is something unexplainable, that means the technique that you're doing is right, and you can go ahead with that technique. But if the technique is not fetching you anything, and if it's kind of doing the same thing again and again, then you will have the same results even though you do it for a certain number of years. So it's the you need to analyze how many years you want to spend on that technique. So if you spend like all your life reading the mantras and meditating and seeing the same result, maybe you need to try a different technique which can give you a higher experience. So according to me, I think the better approach initially is like experiment with different techniques. As many techniques as you can, experiment with different techniques. And once you try, and there are like a lot of techniques, there are like 1-12 meditation techniques. And after you try like 20-25 different techniques, out of that, maybe 1 or 2 techniques will be on the highest level, which means that you can keep them on the top priority, and you can remove rest of the techniques, and you can just go ahead with those 2 techniques for your whole life to reach that enlightenment. So be careful what technique you're following. And the thing is, one thing which came to my mind was a lot of people go to the monastery or the Buddhist centers, and they blindly believe in the teachings. But is that I know that it's pure. I mean, those centers are pure, the intentions are pure, but you need to be selfish in your own way. Is this technique or what they're preaching, is it really affecting you? Is it taking you to that high elevated state, or is it bringing any experience to you? You need to watch that. If it's bringing that experience to you, then you need to go with that techniques, what they're preaching, and you need to follow those rules of dharma, what they're preaching, and you need to go along with it. If you don't see any results, then I think it's a good idea to kind of experiment with different techniques and see how it plays out. So it's up to you what you want to do. For me, the best thing is to experiment with different techniques and see what works out for you, and the thing which works with you, go along with it. Thank you and peace. Have a nice day.